now we can't leave Beijing, which sucks. It's just being honestly discriminated against on an everyday basis. People just spitting literally everywhere. Like, I mean, I don't want to expose anything while I'm here. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tanasia Murphy and today I am filming an updated Q&A on life in China. So I have been living in China with my husband for 1 year and 5 months, so almost a year and a half, and I thought it was time to update you guys and kind of tell you how things have been going. I posted a question and answer box on Instagram asking you to submit questions if you had them. I had a few questions on Instagram and also some questions on YouTube that I thought I would answer about our time here. Before I start on the questions, I just kind of wanted to give you like my general overview life update on how things have been going. Also, excuse the camera if it's wiggling a little bit. You are on my bed, so when I move, you move just like that. So if it's moving a little bit, it's my bad. A general overview of how things have been going. I think that things have been going fairly well. When we first got here, I would say like I started off on like a super high note. Like, I wouldn't say I loved everything, but I just kind of came in and adjusted pretty quickly to life here. There obviously was some culture shock and some things that I had to overcome, but overall I think I adjusted pretty quickly. I didn't really feel homesick or sad about being here at all. It wasn't until a little bit more recently that I have begun to feel more homesick and just ready to at least go home and visit. If you don't know, China's policy for entering is very difficult. So because we were allowed to come here during COVID and we had to do all of these steps, leaving and coming back is possible, but it is just so like unpredictable. They change their rules so quickly and then you have to quarantine and you could get stuck out. Not to mention if you get COVID, you can't come back for 6 months. So we haven't been able to leave China at all. So I think as time has gone on, that's obviously begun to wear on me a little bit. So I would say that overall this has been a positive experience, but lately I have been feeling very homesick. I think I've talked about that in like a previous life update video. We came here to, you know, enjoy our married lives before we have kids and travel, and although we haven't been able to leave China, we have been able to travel within China. Right now we can't leave Beijing, which sucks, but we hopefully will be able to do that soon. Outside of working, I really just stay home, but when I'm not home, I like to do yoga. So there is a yoga studio called Taozi, and that actually means peach in Chinese, Taozi Yoga Studio. And I go there sometimes on the weekends, and yeah, I don't go during the week because the studio is a bit far from where we currently live. So yeah, I do enjoy doing yoga. They have some really cool yoga classes, and I really enjoyed their like new moon and full moon yoga series that I have actually included on some previous vlogs too. So that's pretty much what I do. I just go to work, come home. Sometimes I do yoga. Sometimes I go hang out with a group of girls from flag football. And yeah, I don't do flag football anymore. I played for 2 seasons. I kept hurting myself, so I am not doing flag football anymore. That was a very active and fun thing to do on the weekends, but my health comes first, so I had to say no to that this season, which is fine. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I know Devin has been loving the amount of time that he can play basketball. He plays basketball a couple times a week outside of school, and then he also coaches both the 8th grade and the varsity boys basketball teams at our school. So he is very busy with basketball. Now that is the quick update. I guess I will start to answer some questions. So the first question is best and worst. So I would say the best thing about living in China is the money. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but really it is. That was one of the reasons why we came here to begin with. Being a teacher here is a lot more fruitful than being a teacher in North Carolina. We make a lot more money, we can pay off bills, we can save money, and it is great to not have to live paycheck to paycheck like I have been doing my entire adult life. So that is definitely the best thing about living in China. The worst thing is enough for an entirely separate video, but I will just put it to you like this. People treat us differently because of our appearance, and a lot of it has to do with COVID. So people are openly afraid of us. They are openly just not really wanting to be near us. We've been at restaurants where people will get up and move if we sit down beside them. People refuse to just be near us, or yeah. So I would say that that has been the worst part, is just being honestly discriminated against on an everyday basis. And like I said, I can make a whole separate video about that. I probably will, but it won't be until after we leave China, just because, I mean, I don't want to expose anything while I'm here. Things that I will miss when we move. I think I will miss just the I think I'll miss the people. I've met some pretty cool people here, some nice friends, and I think I'll miss that. I have definitely become more social since being here. Over the last couple of months, I've socialized less, but overall, I'm a lot more social here than I was back in North Carolina. I was social, but like because of Devin, like I would go with him to hang out with our like group of friends, but as far as like me doing my own thing, didn't really happen that much. So I will probably miss the socialization aspect, but again, I can also continue that in Charlotte with the friends that I have. The next question is about the weather. So the weather here is very extreme. In the winters, it is very cold, and in the summers, it is scorching hot. And I think it's because we live in a desert, like Beijing is a desert. I'm pretty sure I've heard someone say that before. Don't like use that answer in trivia, because honestly, I don't really know if that's true, but I swear I've heard that somewhere, that Beijing is a desert, and I guess that means that the summers are hot and the winters are cold. The winters are too cold for me. I'm from North Carolina. I'm used to nice, mild temperatures in the winter. Maybe sometimes it gets like in the 30s, but here, ridiculous. Super cold. I can't tell you exactly the temperatures, but just know that it gets like -Celsius. I don't know what that really means either. Usually I have to do like the conversion, but it get cold and it get hot. Is it difficult shopping for clothes and shoes? Shoes, not so much. Shoes actually are very easy to get here. Devin gets shoes all the time. They're super easy to get here because a lot of the shoes that like sell out, like sneakers in the States, they don't sell out here. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. So they're super easy to get because they're just like sitting on shelves. Shoes definitely a bit easier. Clothes more difficult because of our body types. We were warned about this before we came, but basically shopping for clothes here is not impossible, but it is hard. You can't just walk into any old store and find something in your size unless you're like super small. And I'm not like super big, but I'm not super small. I'm what they call nowadays mid-size. So I usually only shop at Zara and H&M because they have my sizes there. If I order online, I can shop the plus sized section, which is funny because in the States I wouldn't be considered plus size, but here I am. And the worst part about shopping on like Taobao and those places for clothes is that in the descriptions, if you translate them, it'll say like fat girl clothes or like fat girl workout pants or fat girl t-shirts, which is really ridiculous. So like you have to be confident in your body to shop for clothes, because if you weren't confident, you would feel very fat shamed. What is my favorite thing to do? My favorite thing to do here is probably to like go to yoga and hang out with one of my really good friends, Sean. We do that like maybe like 2 or 3 times a month. We'll go to like a yoga class together, and then we'll go to this place called Avocado Tree, which is similar to Chipotle actually, and we will eat. I really enjoy doing that. I also just enjoy hanging out in like the area that is called Chaoyang, specifically like Sanlitun area. Lots of Western restaurants and stores and things like that. Very high-end luxury stores that I can like window shop at. The last thing that is new that I like to do is staycationing. So going to a nice hotel in the city, staying on the side of town that is not where we currently live, and just living a life of luxury for a weekend. I love it. Nobody can tell me otherwise. It is so fun, so nice to just be in a hotel, chilling in a nice big bed, have a bathtub. Bathtubs here are hard to come by, so to have a bathtub and to be able to just be close to the things that I like to do, amazing. I love it. Someone asked about the phone that I showed, so I'm guessing they're talking about this one. So this phone is the one that I got when we moved here. It is from the Oppo brand, OPPO. It is just like a standard Android phone, and we got this one because the iPhone that I have, it was purchased shortly before we came to China, and it was like, I think either right before or right after we got married, and I was trying to leave my parents' phone plan and get on a phone plan with my husband, and we got this phone and signed up for a payment plan. It's an iPhone, and if you are on a payment plan, your phone company won't unlock your phone so you can get a different SIM card. So when we got to China, I couldn't get a SIM card, a Chinese SIM card for my iPhone. So I basically had to purchase an entirely new phone so that I could have a Chinese phone number and Chinese SIM card. So this phone I use for everything. I have all of the apps that we use on it, and WeChat, and then my health kit is on it. I use this one for life. Like literally everything can be done. Like I can leave our apartment with only this and be fine. This phone I bring when I want to like take photos or videos. This one is really good for that. The camera quality is good on an iPhone, of course, whereas the camera on this phone is not as good. So yeah, that's why I have 2 phones, because this one cannot be unlocked. I also use this one mostly for like social media and stuff. What are the best apps to have? So my husband and I actually sat down a little while ago and filmed the same video, but the vibes just weren't there. So I'm redoing it. So I'll kind of share some of what he said and also some of what I said. So the app that I said I think I use the most is called Waimai, and it is the food delivery app. So this is where you can like order food from restaurants. And so it has this little like kangaroo, and if you click on it, you can literally scroll through and order food from anywhere, and it delivers pretty quickly depending on how far it is from your home. Also, Baopals is a good app to use. It is similar to Taobao, which is the Chinese Amazon, but Baopals is in English, and they have a very good customer service where they will reach out to the sellers of whatever items you bought and like handle any disputes or issues for you, and kind of like be that middleman to help you out if you need like a refund, or if something is taking too long to ship. They are on it, which I really like them for that. They are more expensive than Taobao, and the selection I think is a little bit more limited, but I just like the ease of things being in English and having other people solve my problems for me. I mean, who doesn't love that? So I like Baopals. Also Taobao. Taobao was good. It's in Chinese. It's quick. It's easy. You just have to translate everything. So Taobao was another one. DD is the Uber or Lyft service that we use. and it is the only Uber or Lyft service, if I am remembering correctly. And basically you just use the app, they'll come pick you up, take you where you need to go, and it's super cheap, super cheap. Like I don't think I have spent more than $10 on a DD ride within the city, and I can be in the car for an hour. So very, very cheap. WeChat, of course, if you don't have WeChat, you literally can't be in China. I mean, WeChat is used for everything. You put money on your WeChat pay card, you pay through WeChat, all types of things. Like you need WeChat before you need anything else. Like WeChat is the way that China is run. That's how I do all my text messaging, all my calling, it's all through WeChat. The health kit app, so that's this one down here. This is the one that is specifically because of COVID, and I have to scan it before I can do a lot of things just to prove that I don't have COVID. Another app that is similar to WeChat is called Alipay, and you can actually use that one for money if you need to instead of WeChat. It's actually very similar to WeChat, but I'm not exactly sure how similar because I hardly ever use it. Dianping, this one right here, the little running man, jumping man, that one is also good. It's kind of like a Yelp for like suggestions on restaurants and KTV places and things like that. It's really, really good to use if you're looking for something to do near you. And I feel like I'm missing something, but I think those are the most important ones. Also, if you go to like a grocery store or something, a lot of times if you scan the QR code at the grocery store, you can get like a mini program through WeChat where you can order groceries from that store to be delivered directly to your home, so you don't always have to go to the grocery store. So those are the apps that I use mostly on this phone. Also, if the lighting keeps changing, it's because I keep having to like turn off my camera because it's becoming overheated and wait and then turn it back on. So yeah, we're just trying to get this done before it gets dark. It's 5:48, so the sun is going down. Any other technology suggestions related to transitioning to China? I think the biggest thing that I would say is if you want to buy any expensive gadgets like an iPhone or an iPad, MacBook, or just computer in general, camera, buy that before you come, because believe it or not, those things are more expensive here. I used to think that when you left the US, everything was cheaper. That is not true, especially in China. I mean, maybe in other places, but in China, it's not true. Things that are not Chinese are expensive. Simple as that. If it's Chinese, it's probably cheap or cheaper, but if it's not Chinese, it's expensive. So just buy it before you come, because you'll be paying a good penny more than you would if you didn't. How did I get my job? How did I apply? Was it through an agency or direct hire? So we got our jobs through a direct hire. Long story short, someone that I worked with back in Charlotte, North Carolina, she moved to China, I think about 2 years before we came, with her husband. And well, they weren't married yet, but they are now. And they were documenting their experience kind of through social media. They're not big on social media, but they were posting things, and that's how I became interested in moving to China. So in order to help convince Devin, we set up a FaceTime call with her and her husband to kind of talk about their experience. And then I think like maybe a week later, she messaged me and said her school was hiring. So we applied, we interviewed, and we got the jobs. So we got our jobs through direct hire, which I'm not sure, but I don't know many people here who have gotten their jobs that way. I think most people use an agency or like TEFL. I think that's one of them. I'm not too sure. I do think it's a bit different too if you actually have like a background in teaching. Some people come to China and are teachers who didn't teach prior, and that wasn't our situation. So I cannot speak to like agencies and things like that because we were hired directly by our school. How long did it take me to adjust to the changes of how things are in the US versus China? I think that I had adjusted pretty quickly. Things are very different, especially because this is my first time living in a big city. Charlotte is like a decent sized city, but Beijing is bigger than New York, I'm pretty sure, or it has like more people than New York has, or New York City. And I have not been ever exposed to this like super fast life on an everyday basis. It's very fast paced, just a lot of stuff going on. So I think that I surprisingly adjusted to living in China quickly, but living in a big city was something to get used to, and is still something to get used to. All of the people, just, yeah, being crowded, traffic, things like that. Actual Chinese things that would happen here in China versus in the States, there have been quite a few things that happen that I still react to. One of those things would be like people just spitting literally everywhere. Like one time I was waiting for a DD and this man spit like 10 times on the ground in front of him, and it's just like, yeah, it's a thing. It is what it is. There's probably like a long list of things that are different, but I would say like spitting is one of the things that I'm still not used to. Just the number of people in traffic is something I'm not used to still. Well, I'm used to it, but I don't like it. The language, obviously, I've learned a little bit of the language, like enough to kind of survive, but I'm not fluent at all. So that has been challenging. The food hasn't been that bad. There are foods that I miss from the States, but I typically eat more Western. Even here, when we first got here, I was eating a lot of Chinese food, but I got like sick of that really quick. So mostly I eat Western food. I eat like Chinese food at school at lunch, but I think that's pretty much the only time I eat Chinese food all week. So yeah, not really immersing myself in the culinary side of China, but that's just my personal preference. I honestly didn't really like Chinese food before we even came to China. So it's not like I came here and didn't like it. I just already didn't like it. And I know it's different here. It's better here actually. But I'm still like not inclined to crave Chinese food. Have you found any Southern food? Speaking of food, no Southern food. Like I literally can't think of any place we've been to that has Southern food. No macaroni and cheese. Well, they do have macaroni and cheese, but it's like, it's not the macaroni and cheese, if you know what I mean. It's good, but it's not, it's okay. They do have like some barbecue places, but I never really ate barbecue, even though I'm from the South. So I don't really care too much for that. I'm not a big meat eater in general. But yeah, I don't really see Southern food here. There probably is a place in Beijing that sells it, but I'm not seeking it out because I just know in my heart I'm going to be disappointed. So I haven't had any Southern food since I've been here, unless I've made it myself. How long are we planning on staying in China? And are we planning on coming home to visit? I'm gonna answer the second question and let that be the last one for this video. We would love to go home and visit, but the process of leaving China and coming back is absolutely ridiculous. You could be quarantining for 2 weeks, you could be quarantining for 3 weeks, you don't really know. If you get COVID while you're somewhere else visiting home, then you can't come back into the country for 6 months. You have to get all these COVID tests, these PU letters, these invitation letters, all of these things that take time and money. Our school doesn't necessarily want to take the risk of sending us home. However, they have said that like they would, but honestly, we just don't really want to take the risk ourselves because it's just too up in the air for us. So I think that we won't be visiting until we move back. And that is just the short answer to that question. I don't think we'll be able to visit until we move back. No visiting for now, unfortunately, unless China decides to open their borders, which Fingers crossed, but realistically it probably won't happen. So that's that. My camera is overheating again and my battery is dying, so I am going to end this video. Thank you so much for submitting questions. Please follow me on Instagram for the next time that I do a Q&A video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If there were any questions that I didn't get to answer that you would like answered, please put them in the comments below. And subscribe if you are new to follow along with our journey here in China. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!